Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anarsulu. I'm a homeroom teacher for first graders. As being homeroom teacher, I teach English, maths, science, and art. We have 3 hours science lessons every week. And here is to the next slide. Here are the topics I'm raising, I will discuss with you. First, content, I want to tell that in this presentation, I will tell about my experience of teaching plants and animals, one unit as a one unit. It took us 6 weeks. Now we are starting the last week. And of course, I will present not all the materials, all the outcomes we came through these 5 weeks, but I will try to share my best experience and the best outcomes we had. So let's start. Next to the slide. First of all, what is inquiry? Inquiry's meaning is very similar to the meaning of investigation, exploration, testing, questions, or questions. So basically, inquiry-based approach is common in my school, in my science lessons. It can activity, part of activity, kind of activity you use in science lessons, but we try to conduct and engage students through this approach. And it is an investigative approach where ask a question. Also, they test out their own or maybe some suggestions to the problems. Also, they try to find the solution for the problem and basically try to think out of their boxes. And you see in these two pictures, in the first picture, all classroom where students visually can see the name of the unit and can see the central idea of the unit and key concepts involved and lines of inquiry. Basically, it's about the planning. They will know before what we are going through. And in the second picture, you may see also a part of the wall where students stick their questions, write them on the stickers and stick them on the, yeah, perfect, thank you. Most right now plants and animals, but what happens to plant dies, what happens to animal dies, or some kinds of, they were asking kind of names for the plants or animals. This is very common in science lessons. Also, teachers' questions, but I didn't put on my slide. It would be your topic for the lesson. What do you want to have in the end? You can put it in teachers' questions section before starting the lesson. To the next slide. Another element, I recommend you to use provocation science lesson. Just activity or leading activity, or can be the whole activity. These activities increase the curiosity, your and help you to continue to the investigation they are through. And you may see pictures. I will start. Uh, we finished light. In the first lesson of light, I brought a box hole. I think it's also well illustrated in a science book.
Anarsulu, can you hear me? Yeah, there is some kind of a problem, technical problem. Your voice is cutting up. That means getting interrupted. Maybe it's because of the. Maybe can you sit closer to the microphone?
Okay.
Yes. Now
Sorry.
Now we can hear you better, clear. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Got it. Light. I brought a box with a hole, and I asked students to look into the dark box. Of course, I put there an object, and I asked them to find what is it in there. And students could not see anything, but they made their answers like they were just trying to guess. This is about actually inquiry. They tried to guess because this box is small, right? So they try to guess about small objects, ball or toy, other stuff. But in the second part of my experiment, torch with the torch, the light from the torch went through the hole. The students, what was in there, and then we discussed why you could not see in the first part of the experiment and why see in the second part. We had discussion, and even you can use put there. In my case, I put there a candle, little candle. It's a light source of light, and torch is also source of light. So you can even go farther with the source of lights. So which one nature? Which one is artificial? So provocation is a great tool to start the unit. And travel, same with traveling. Present support like the objects, postcards, pictures, tickets or keychains, and put them together. And the students needed to find out how how the people works, collect the things together, where to get from, and started thinking about seeing this, and they started experience I kind of magnet. I also have kind of chain. The only visiting countries. So who visits the countries? Why we call that person is a tourist, and you can go even further discussing the difference between two travel. Provocation is through biodiversity. I but I didn't. I gave them some clues. This object has some air, sunlight, and this thing can change. Each start answer dog or person, baby, but then when I help them a little bit that have nice smell, and then I showed And after that, and smell the we have this flower, and then we try to cast parts. Look at the petals. Look at the stem, and more very knowledge on part of the plant. So of course, they were so on provocation activity. What they need to know. Provocations are to use in science lessons. Next slide, please. Okay. Can you hear me well?
Anarsulu, it's cutting up a little bit. We can't hear you very well. Do you think you could join from your phone, smartphone?
Okay. Yeah, yes, I can do it. I'm so sorry.
No worries, no worries. It's normal. This happens. Don't worry about the technical, okay? It's a wonderful presentation. We will continue. Yeah. Guys, yeah, we're sorry. Just give us 1 minute. Anarsulu will reconnect from her phone, and I'm sure it will be better. Yeah, let's show her some support by, maybe giving thumbs up in the chat. Thanks.
Now, how do you hear me?
Well, very loud.
Better?
Yes, you can continue. Thank you.
Okay, so where was it? Planting experiment. The next thing I wanted to teach my students the plant cycle, and to show to open this topic and to make sure that they know the plant cycle. I decided to start an experiment with cross salad. For the first week, I chose to planting process. I started the planting process, and kids were observing. Kids were planting and observing their seeds and plants. In the second week, they started writing a diary, then collecting their harvest was the final part. Let's look at some pictures I've made from the experiment. So in the first week, thank you. In the first week, I asked my students to collect some Tetra Paks or the plastic. Well, the Tetra Paks were priority because, as you can also here join the recycling topic, but I was able to show it only in half because not all of them could find the Tetra Paks. So I bought some seeds, and in the first lesson we planted those seeds. We used tissues instead of soil. It's interesting. Let me tell you the story how I came to this experiment. This is the second year I am doing it. I learned it from the German institution, Goethe. When I was learning German, I was called to a workshop with planting cross salad, and I went there just to practice my German, but it was really interesting how the Germans actually can use the recycling objects to like example planting cross salad. And cross salad is very easy. It's really easy to grow it. And then I
we planted with students the seeds, and it's very important. In the second picture, you may see the plastic wrap to cover the seeds, because some plants need extra support, like a special condensation in the beginning. So we tried to have the condensation in the cups, and we covered and let them stay on the windowsill to get some sun rays. But it's up to you. If there is no sun in the, if it's not possible, you can just leave it in the warm place. And when they students entered the classroom next day, the first thing they checked their seeds, and they saw there were some sprouts. And can you please, Mr. Sanders, show the second slide? And in the second week slide, there is a poster, plant life cycle. I had this poster on my whiteboard, but I had no chance to actually present it. But students, they visually, they could see that it is actually about the presentation, and they after the plants, they run to the whiteboard to check what is the next. Yes, I covered the containers. At the next, after seed comes the sprouts, and they could see that they are at this next level. After 2 days, there were some seedlings, and I believe on the 5th day, they had plants already. Cross salad was used. Cross salad you can find in the shops, and in the final result, they got these cross salad grown plants. Some of them took to home to see what will happen, or some of them also cut them and took to the lunch to add to their salads. So they had a salad with tomato, cucumber, and cross salad. They said it tastes normal. Some of them said it tastes tasteless. It was interesting to hear their results from the experiment. Also, one of the thing we at the same time, we have still lessons, and the plants are growing, and you need to do something in the lessons, except the experiment. We had this writing diary. It was a great idea. I highly recommend you to start writing the diary if you want to have the experiment, because they can systematically, they can assess themselves. Okay, what they need. Did I draw everything I used for the experiment? Okay, I got here a wrap, plastic wrap, a cup, I have my seeds, and I have my tissue and water. And not all of them, because I have the first graders, they were able to write the steps. So we need tissue, seeds, water, plastic, so after tissue, so take tissue, it was put in the cup, and then put some in the water cup. So take 6 seeds, because I told them to take 6 seeds. Maybe it was my mistake. If you will do this experiment, please put more than 10 seeds, because you will have more plants. And the diary was just a great idea. Every lesson, they draw what they have in their cups. Was it seed? Was it sprout? Was it seedling? Or was it plant? And then they write the stage from the life cycle. Okay, next slide. Next week, we decided to check a botanical garden we have in our city. Here was my goal to show the habitats or environment of plants. And we had unfortunately, only two types, tropics, and we had desert. Kids were exploring the plants in tropics like palms, unusual plants for our country. In deserts, most of the plants were kinds of cacti, but interesting fact that when they entered to the building, they already felt the temperature. They could how to say, measure or compare the temperature. In tropics, it was, they said, it was a feeling after rain, and in desert, it was a feeling they want to drink water all the time. So, and then this is how you can understand what feels these plants. And of course, the plants like needs more water, you cannot find them in desert. So they came to this point, and it was so much fun in there. Next slide, please. Then we started studying animals. I will not tell you about the parts of animals, habitats of animals. I want to start with complicated topics. One of them, in my opinion, is the classification of animals. I know that in our country, first graders don't study classification of animals because it's too difficult for them. But as you may know, in my school, we have inquiry lessons, so across the IB program, and according to IB program, we have 6 weeks for one unit. So one unit we study for 6 weeks, 1.5 months. It's so long, and you can imagine how many hours I got, and of course I cannot just all the time learn or teach them only the parts, only the habitats of animals. It pushed me to go even farther. So I started with this diagram you may see in the first picture. I just divide the animals by their places, living places, right? Live on land, animals live in water, animals live in air. And I picked specific animals. Make sure that some animals can be very confusing or can be difficult to explore for first graders. So I picked only these animals you can see in the whiteboard, on the whiteboard. Then I gave 2 animals for each student. I made sure that they know the names and the proper pronunciations for the animals. After that, I asked each student to put their cards with animals in the correct living place, and most of them were correct. And then I went farther. You can see that my diagram actually is very touchable. So they could touch, they could stick, and it's very movable. So I moved these cards down to the babies. So it's how they have babies. So of course I introduced that there are 2 ways to have babies: giving birth or laying eggs. And most of them, they were correct. Maybe some animals were confusing, like spider. I think only spider, right? I think the rest were really simple for them. And very, how to say, difficult to explain about amphibians and reptiles. So I paid all attention on these specific groups because they haven't touched amphibians or reptiles, maybe only the snake, right? And the snake is cold. But how about the frog, who is warm? So I helped them a little bit that some animals, these animals are cold, these animals are warm. It's extra from the laying eggs in water, laying eggs in on land. So I made them clear why they are in two different groups, but they both live on land and in water. Yes, frogs are amphibians, yes, and frogs are warm. That's why frogs lay eggs in water, not on the land. So animals who lay eggs on the land, they are cold animals. The birds, the easiest I think is a group of birds. I think I will not tell, oh, maybe I can tell you more about the living things in water, because some animals live through their gills, some animals live through their lungs. Especially dolphins, seals, they are mammals. And here you need to somehow explain them why they are mammals, but they are in the water, right? So why they are not fish? Here I made very clear that humans, we have lungs, and they know it. Students know it. And then I made, well, these animals also through the lungs. So are they mammals or are they fish? And they changed their minds, and they were like proved that they are mammals. Also the fur, also they have 4 legs, right? And all this help them to distinguish between mammals and like mammals on land and mammals in water. So this is also kind of tricky topic to discuss. All these topics discussed through the classroom discussions. I want to share one idea that classroom discussions is the best for discussing difficult, confusing, tricky topics. And usually all students, I know it like they want to speak, they want to answer, but I have cube in my hand. If the student has cube, only that student will speak. So this is the tool I use for the discussions. And the next is assessment. So after the classification, diagram classification of animals, I asked them to write the worksheets, complete the worksheets with my animal research, and they didn't choose their favorite animals. They choose animal they got from the flashcards, right? So they I was sure that everyone had the different animals. So they yes, that's right. How does your animal have babies, eggs? I think it's can be a full point, because the student got the point that spider lays eggs, right? So the omit of the word lay, it's not mistake in my case of teaching. Also, the last one is also important for me. My animal belong to insects. So, and I want to share with another assessment. This is more speaking assessment. I had a box in my hand with toy animals, farm animals or wild animals, and they had to pick an animal with closed eyes. And this is one of my students answering for the question.
Is there a video inside?
Yes, I sent you video by Telegram.
One second.
Or I can show. I can show it here as well.
Horse belongs to mammals because it gives babies and it feeds them milk, and because it has 4 legs.
Thank you.
It's just a short video.
Mammals because it gives babies and it feeds them milk, and because it has 4 legs.
Thank you.
So this was really fun. After that, after the assessment, I let them to play with these toys. So was also fun activity for them. As also was kind of assessment. So you may see you are introduced to writing assessment and speaking assessment. Next slide, please. This is a different student. I don't think I don't think that I sent you these videos. Maybe we can just move to the next slide. Animals habitats observations through webcams. In my city, we don't have any zoo parks. We have only aquarium, but they are presented only ocean animals, so it would not be fair. I decided to find a way, and I came to this mind. Maybe we can watch zoo parks from the screen. And I found some webcams. This is the website I found. From the rating, it was the best website, geocam.ru. This website is in Russian, but I checked also the websites in English, so I don't think it will be difficult for you to find these zoo parks. Some are the public zoo parks, some of the private zoo parks, and before this lesson, I spent one day watching all the zoo parks, which I really need. I needed a desert. I needed Africa, I needed North Pole, I needed forest, I needed jungle. Unfortunately, I couldn't find desert and the North Pole, but the rest I found them. But if even you cannot find the zoo parks, you can find some videos, just nice videos to explore the habitat. And they were so excited to watch. Yes, National Geographic is also a very good resource. Last year I used it, but this time I wanted to let them to they would be in the real life zoo parks, to have them more engaged to the lesson. After the watching these videos, we conducted activity. Please draw 3 animals you know from the desert, from these habitats, and so on. And it was well done. So they drew the animals. Next slide, please. Also, I wanted to talk about one of the very important thing that transdisciplinary we do in our school. For example, I can conduct the science to English, I can join these lessons in many ways. Names of animals, for example, 2 students were a pair work. One student sticks animals in his zoos, and the partner does so. After they ask each other, which do you have a monkey in your zoo park? Do you have a frog in your zoo park? Or is there? So you can use for the grammar or language content goal lesson. In the second picture, you may see animal research. It's more writing activity. Usually these lessons should how to say lessons should plan after the science lesson, because they should have some primary knowledge. For example, polar bear we discussed in science lessons. After we have English lesson, okay, let's write about polar bears. What do you know? What do you remember about polar bears? Yeah. And in the last, I led them to pick their favorite animals, but I separated them by their habitats. So they would not, the partner would not have the same habitat, right? And they, for example, jellyfish, my animal research, knew what to write. So what they eat, what does it look like, and please draw your animal. So this all were done in words were done in English lesson. Next. Also, you can somehow join your science to maths lessons. For example, at that time we were learning picture graphs, and I found just this incredible beautiful worksheet about insects. There were kinds of insects: ladybugs, butterflies, dragonflies, grasshoppers, or the caterpillars, and it was so much fun. And then in the you may see that yes, we can also use songs in science lessons. These are my favorite ones. If you're teaching parts of plants, you can choose this video. If you are teaching animal classification, I really I recommend you to find this video, because my kids were singing and dancing. There were some rhyming, like dance like a frog, and they were jumping in the classroom, or sing like a rabbit, or like sing like a bird. So it was really fun. At the same time, they were, of course, learning about classifications and animal classification. Next one. Also, talking walls as decorations in the classroom. I know that I cannot cover most of the materials I show them on the walls, but it's a great tool for how to say, to make deeper this unit, because for the students, because during the break times, during their free times, when they don't know what to do, they will just go to the walls and then start exploring the animals. Oh wow, this animal, and they already remember the names of the animals, because they can read them, and because they can also, in the next slide, there is also a map showing which animal belongs where, like endangered animals or the groups of animals. So walls, for me as a science teacher, I think it's really important, and I use this tool a lot. So all my decoration in the class. So next week I will get ready for the next unit. I will take off all the decorations and put a new decoration related to the unit. Thank you for attention. It was the last slide. I don't think we have time for the questions, Mr. Sanjar, right?
No, I mean, it depends. If we have one question, we can definitely take it. Thank you so much, Anarsulu. This is a wonderful presentation of one unit in your school. So you said this was about 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks long?
6 weeks long, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And your children, I mean, they write quite well. I mean, I'm quite impressed by their writing for the first graders. Yeah, are they
Thank you.
local teachers, local students, or expat?
I have 12 students in my class, and 4 of them are expats. 8 of them are local students.
Okay. And the handwriting was which one? The locals or the expats?
Local.
Oh, really? Wow, that's great. That's really well done. I mean, it's I mean, I don't know. What do you guys say? First graders. That's quite good, right? For first graders.
Very impressive.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Do you
Thank you
guys
very
have
much.